Hey everyone, welcome back to another creepy tale on the channel. Tonight we're hitting the court at a small college in Indiana, where a basketball player named Ethan and his buddies sneak into their gym to practice for a big game. Sounds harmless, right? Except this gym has rules. Weird, spooky rules that nobody talks about, and breaking them might cost more than a game. This is, I'm a college basketball player in a haunted gym. There are strange rules to follow. And it's gonna make you think twice about late-night hoops. Grab your popcorn, dim the lights, and let's get into it. Hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next part of this chilling story. The gym at Willow Creek University smelled like sweat and polished wood, its old hardwood, floor creaking under every step. Tucked in a quiet corner of Indiana, the small college wasn't known for much, but its basketball team had a shot at glory in the upcoming intercollegiate tournament. Ethan Carter, a lanky 20-year-old sophomore, lived for this court. He was the team's point guard, quick on his feet and fierce with a ball, dreaming of leading Willow Creek to a championship. The gym was his second home, with its faded banners, rusty hoops, and flickering fluorescent lights, but lately it felt like a cage. Practice was brutal. The tournament was 2 weeks away, and Coach Johnson pushed the team hard, running drills until their legs burned. Ethan loved it, the sweat, the teamwork, the chance to prove himself. But the school's rules were killing them. The gym was only open during daylight, locked tight by 6 p.m., no exceptions. Coach wouldn't say why, just muttered about school policy and safety. Ethan thought it was nonsense. They needed more time to prep, especially with rival schools like Hanover College gunning for the trophy. Renting an off-campus court wasn't an option. None of the guys had that kind of cash. Today's practice ended early, the sun still high, and the team was grumpy. "We're never gonna beat Hanover like this," Mike, Ethan's best friend and the team's speedy shooting guard, grumbled, tossing a ball into the rack. Sam, the quiet center with a knack for rebounds, nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. The rest of the team shuffled out, heading home or to the dorms, but Ethan lingered, bouncing a ball, his mind racing. "We could sneak in," he said, half joking, his voice echoing in the empty gym. Mike's eyes lit up. "You serious, man?" Sam frowned, but Ethan was already hooked on the idea. They knew the security guard, old Mr. Daniels, took his dinner break at 7 p.m., leaving the key room unguarded. By 7:15, the three of them were back, hearts pounding, outside the gym's side entrance. The campus was dark, the Indiana sky heavy with clouds, the air crisp with fall chill. Ethan led the way, his sneakers quiet on the pavement, Mike cracking nervous jokes, Sam clutching his gym bag like a lifeline. The key room was a small office, near the entrance, cluttered with mops and a desk littered with coffee cups. Ethan had made a fake key from clay as a prank last semester. It wasn't perfect, but it might fool Mr. Daniels. They slipped in, swapped the real key for the fake, and held their breath. No alarms, no footsteps. They were in. The gym felt different at night, colder, the lights dimmer, casting long shadows across the court. Ethan unlocked the main doors, and they stepped inside, locking them from within to keep out any surprises. The familiar creak of the floor was louder, the hoops looming like silent judges. "Let's do this," Ethan said, tossing Mike a ball. They started running drills, passing, shooting, laughing about the school's dumb rules. "What's the big deal?" Mike said, sinking a three-pointer. "Ghost's gonna steal our jump shots?" Sam stayed quiet, his eyes on the bleachers, like he saw something move. They were mid-drill when a ball fell from the rack, bouncing slowly across the court. Ethan stopped, the ball rolling to his feet, no one near it. "Wind, probably," he said, but the windows were sealed, the air still. Mike shrugged, grabbing another ball, and they kept playing, the rhythm of dribbling and shouting filling the gym. Another ball fell, then another, each bounce louder like someone was tossing them. Ethan's skin prickled. "Okay, that's weird," he said, scanning the racks. Sam pointed to the bleachers, his voice low. "Something's up there." Ethan squinted, the shadows thick under the seats, but nothing moved. "Just the lights," he said, though his stomach twisted. They needed to focus. Tournament prep, not ghost stories. They ran another play, Ethan driving to the hoop. But the ball slipped like it was yanked from his hands, missing the rim. Mike laughed, nervous, and Sam backed away, his face pale. "We shouldn't be here," he said. but Ethan waved him off. "We're fine. Let's keep going." It was nearly 9 p.m. when they took a break, sweaty and pumped, sitting on the sidelines. The gym was too quiet now, the only sound their heavy breathing. Ethan grabbed a water bottle, joking about Coach's face if he caught them, but his smile faded when another ball fell, rolling toward the center of the court, stopping dead, like it was placed there. "That's not wind," Sam whispered, standing, his eyes wide. Mike got up, peering into the dark corners, and Ethan felt it, a chill, like eyes on his back, from the bleachers, the lockers, the shadows. He stood, ball in hand, ready to call. It a night when a soft thud came from the locker room door, like someone knocking, slow and deliberate. Thud, thud, thud. The three froze, staring at the door, locked from the inside. "Mr. Daniels?" Ethan called, his voice shaky. But no. One answered. The knocking stopped. But the air was heavier, the shadows darker. Ethan's flashlight, pulled from his bag, flickered as he aimed it at the door. Nothing was there. But the ball at center court bounced once, on its own, a sharp echo in the silent gym. The basketball at the center of Willow Creek University's gym bounced once, a sharp crack in the silence, then stopped, like an invisible hand had caught it. Ethan Carter stood frozen on the sidelines, his flashlight flickering, its weak beam barely cutting through the shadows that clung to the court. Mike and Sam were beside him, their breaths shallow, all three staring at the locker room door where the knocking had just stopped. 3 slow, heavy thuds, unanswered. The gym felt wrong, colder than it should be, the air thick, like someone was watching from the bleachers. Ethan's heart pounded, Coach Johnson's warning echoing in his head. "Don't stay past 6, the gym's not safe." He'd thought it was a joke, but that ball, that knocking, it wasn't his imagination. "Dude, we gotta go," Sam whispered, his voice shaky, clutching his gym bag like a shield. Mike, usually the loudmouth, was quiet, his eyes darting to the dark corners where the fluorescent lights didn't reach. Ethan wanted to agree, to grab the key and bolt, but the key wasn't where he'd left it on the bench. He'd locked the gym doors himself, swapped the real key with a fake to fool the security guard. But now it was gone, like it had walked off. "It's here somewhere," Ethan said, trying to sound calm, but his voice cracked. He swept the flashlight across the floor, catching glints of dust and a stray shoelace, but no key. They split up to search, Ethan checking the sidelines, Mike near the bleachers, Sam by the ball rack. The gym was too quiet, the creak of the hardwood under their sneakers sounding like screams in the stillness. Ethan's flashlight flickered again, the beam dimming, and he smacked it, muttering, "Come on!" That's when he heard it, a soft dribbling sound like someone bouncing a ball coming from the far end of the court. He spun, the light shaking, but the court was empty, the ball still at the center, unmoving. "You hear that?" he called, his voice echoing. Mike nodded, frozen by the bleachers, and Sam backed away from the rack, his face pale. The dribbling stopped, replaced by a rustling, like fabric moving from the locker room. Ethan's stomach twisted. They'd locked that door, hadn't they? He crept toward it, the flashlight barely working, and saw the handle turn, slow and deliberate, like someone was testing it from the other side. "No way," he whispered, backing up, bumping into Mike. Sam was already by the main doors, yanking at them, but they wouldn't budge. "Where's the key?" Sam hissed, panic in his eyes. Ethan patted his pockets, checked the bench again, but it was gone, and the doors were sealed tight. A loud crash made them jump. Another ball had fallen from the rack, rolling in a perfect arc, stopping beside the first one. Then another and another, until 5 balls were lined up at center court, like players waiting for a tip-off. Ethan's skin crawled. "This ain't funny," Mike said, his voice high, stepping back. Sam pointed to the bleachers, his hand shaking. "Look." In the shadows, something moved. A shape, tall and thin, sitting in the top row, its outline blurry, like it wasn't all there. Ethan's flashlight died, plunging them into near darkness, the gym lit only by the faint glow of emergency exit signs. They huddled by the bench, hearts racing, when Mike tripped over something, cursing. He held up a small metal object, glinting in the dim light. A badge, old and tarnished, engraved with Willow Creek Champions, 1963. Ethan's breath caught. He'd heard the stories, whispered in the dorms. The 1963 basketball team, stars, of the school, vanished after a late-night practice, their bodies never found. Some said the gym caught fire. Others said something worse. The badge was warm. Too warm. Like it had just been held. "Put it down," Sam said, his voice tight. But Mike pocketed it, shrugging. "It's just a trophy, man." Ethan wasn't so sure. He remembered Coach's warning, the way he'd looked at the gym like it was alive. "We need to find that key," he said, trying to focus. But the air was colder now, the shadows thicker. They searched again, sticking close, when a new sound started. Dribbling, louder, faster, coming from the court. Ethan turned, expecting to see nothing. But there it was, a ball, bouncing on its own, high and rhythmic, like a player showing off. It stopped mid-air, then dropped, rolling toward them, slowing at their feet. Mike laughed, nervous, and kicked it away. But it rolled back, faster, like it was angry. "Okay, screw this," he said, grabbing a ball from the rack, ready to play. Through the fear. Ethan stopped him. "Don't! Something's wrong." Sam was already at the locker room door, banging on it, shouting, "Let us out!" But the door didn't move, and the dribbling started again, from all sides now, like a whole team was on the court. Ethan's eyes flicked to the bleachers, where the shape was gone, but new shadows moved, low and quick, along the walls. Back toward the main doors, the balls at center court bouncing now, all five, in perfect sync, no hands touching them. Ethan's throat was dry, his mind racing. They'd broken the rules, stayed past 6, and now the gym was alive, punishing them. He grabbed his bag, rummaging for anything useful, and found a crumpled practice schedule with a note taped to it, written in spidery ink. "Don't play ball after 6 p.m. If you hear dribbling, don't go on the court. Don't pick up the badge if it falls. If you see shadows, don't call their names. Leave the gym before 10 p.m. Ethan's blood ran cold. It was 9:50 p.m., and they'd already broken every rule. Playing, hearing the dribbling, picking up the badge. Mike's face went white as he read over Ethan's shoulder. "This is bad," he whispered, pulling the badge from his pocket, its warmth now burning. Sam grabbed it, dropping it like it was hot, and it skidded across the floor, landing by the balls, which stopped bouncing. The gym's silent again. The silence didn't last. A low hum started, like a crowd murmuring, coming from the bleachers, though they were empty. Ethan's flashlight flickered back on, weak, and he aimed it at the court, where the balls were gone, replaced by a single shadow, tall and faceless, standing at center court. It didn't move, but its presence was heavy, like it was waiting. "We gotta get to the locker room," Ethan said, his voice barely a whisper. And they ran, the hum growing, the shadows closing in, the badge glowing faintly on the floor behind them. They reached the locker room door, slamming it shut, locking it from the inside, their breaths ragged. The dribbling started again, outside, slow and deliberate, like a team running drills. Ethan's hands shook as he checked the lockers, hoping for another exit, but found only old jerseys, some from 1963, their numbers faded, smelling like ash. The hum turned to whispers, not words, but names. Ethan, Mike, Sam, slipping through the door, calling them back to the court. The whispers slithered through the locked locker room door, calling Ethan's name, Mike's name, Sam's name, their names, a soft, chilling chant that echoed in the dark. Willow Creek University's gym was a tomb of shadows, the air so cold. It stung Ethan Carter's skin as he crouched by the lockers, his flashlight dead. The only light a faint red glow from the emergency exit sign. Mike and Sam were beside him, their faces pale, eyes wide, the three of them trapped in the locker room after sneaking into the gym to practice. The dribbling sound outside, slow, rhythmic, like a team running drills, kept going, even though the court was empty. The badge Mike had found, engraved with Willow Creek Champions 1963, lay on the floor where Sam had dropped it, its glow pulsing like a heartbeat. Ethan's heart raced. The rules they'd found scrawled on a note, burning in his mind. Don't play ball after 6 p.m. Don't pick up the badge. Leave before 10. They'd broken everyone, and now something was coming for them. We're screwed, Mike whispered, his voice shaking. his usual swagger gone. Sam clutched an old jersey from the locker, one with a faded 1963 number, his knuckles white. Ethan wanted to say something, anything to keep them calm, but the whispers were louder now, not just names but words. Play with us. He thought of Coach Johnson's warning. The gym's not safe after 6, and the dorm rumors about the 1963 team, gone after a late-night practice, their bodies never found. The badge, the rules, the dribbling. It was all connected, and they were in the middle of it. Ethan stood, his legs shaky, and checked the locker room door. It was locked from the inside, but the handle rattled, like someone was trying to get in. "We need to find that key," he said, his voice low, remembering the gym key they'd lost. They'd searched everywhere, benches, sidelines, even their bags, but it was gone, like the gym had swallowed it. He kicked a locker, the clang echoing, and heard a new sound, a single sharp knock on the door. Knock, pause, knock, pause, knock. The rules flashed in his head. If you see shadows, don't call their names. He hadn't seen a shadow in here, not yet, but the one on the court, tall and faceless, was out there, waiting. "Let's check the lockers again," Ethan said, needing to move, to do something. They rummaged through the metal cabinets, finding dusty towels, a broken sneaker, and more 1963 jerseys, their fabric smelling like ash, like they'd been in a fire. Sam pulled out a crumpled newspaper clipping, yellowed and brittle, tucked inside a locker. Ethan grabbed it, his hands trembling, and read under the exit sign's glow. It was a 1963 article. Willow Creek basketball team missing after gym fire. The team, led by Captain Caleb Wright, had stayed late to practice, but a fire broke out, and they were never found. A handwritten note in the margin, in spidery ink, said, "The referee keeps them playing." Ethan's stomach dropped. The referee? Was that what was out there, dribbling, knocking? Mike read over his shoulder, his breath hitching. "This is real, man," he said, pulling the badge from his pocket, its glow brighter now, burning his fingers. "We gotta ditch this thing." Sam shook his head, backing away. "We shouldn't have touched it. The rules said don't pick it up." Ethan remembered the third rule, and guilt hit him hard. They'd messed up, and now the gym was alive, punishing them. The knocking came again, faster, and the door shook, like something heavy was pushing against it. Ethan stuffed the clipping in his pocket, his mind racing. They needed to get out, but the main gym doors were locked, and the key was gone. The locker room had no windows, no other exits, just the door to the court, where the dribbling was louder now, like a full game in progress. He peered through the door's small window, his breath fogging the glass, and saw them, shadows, not one but 5, moving on the court, tall and thin, wearing jerseys like the 1963 team, passing a ball that glowed faintly, like the badge. "Don't look," Sam hissed, pulling Ethan back, but it was too late. One shadow turned, its face a blank void, eyes glowing white, and the whispers surged. "Ethan, play!" Mike dropped the badge, its clatter loud, and the shadows moved closer, their footsteps silent but heavy, shaking the floor. Ethan grabbed a mop from the corner, holding it like a weapon, but it felt useless against whatever was out there. "We stay here," he said, his voice firm despite the fear. "We don't go out there." They barricaded the door with a bench, their hands shaking, but the shadows didn't try to enter. Instead, the dribbling stopped, replaced by a low hum, like a crowd cheering, coming from the bleachers. Ethan's flashlight flickered back on, weak, and he aimed it at the lockers, searching for anything to help. In the last locker, behind a pile of moldy towels, he found a small notebook, its cover leather, marked with a faded WC 1963. He opened it, the pages crackling, and saw a list in the same spidery handwriting as the rules. The referee's game. Don't join the team. Burn the badge to stop it, but pay the price. Ethan's throat went dry. Burn the badge, like the fire in 1963? Mike grabbed the notebook, reading aloud, his voice trembling. "This says Caleb tried to burn it, but it didn't work. He became part of the team." Sam's eyes widened. "We're not burning anything. We're getting out." But the door rattled again, the bench sliding, and the shadows were closer, their white eyes visible through the window. the hum now a chant. Play, play, play. Ethan clutched the badge, its heat searing his palm, and remembered the fourth rule. Don't call their names. Nobody say anything, he whispered, but Mike was already muttering, Caleb, is that you? The shadows froze, then surged, the door buckling, the bench splintering. Ethan shouted, Mike, stop! But the shadows were inside now, not touching them but circling, their jerseys glowing with numbers. 7, 12, 23, 30, 44, the 1963 team. Their faces voids, their hands reaching. Ethan threw the badge, hoping to distract them, and it skidded across the floor, its glow dimming. The shadows paused, their eyes on it, and Ethan grabbed Mike and Sam, pulling them behind the lockers. The chant grew louder, the floor shaking, and the badge started to move, sliding back toward them, like it was alive. Ethan's heart pounded. They'd broken the rules, called a name, and now the 1963 team was here, wanting them to play, to join. The notebook's words echoed. Burn the badge, but pay the price. He didn't know what the price was, but they were running out of time. The shadows of the 1963 basketball team circled the locker room, their glowing jerseys, numbers 7, 12, 23, 30, 44, casting an eerie light across the dented lockers at Willow Creek University's gym. Ethan Carter crouched behind a row of cabinets, his heart hammering, clutching Mike and Sam to keep them still. The badge, that cursed Willow Creek Champions 1963 emblem, slid across the floor toward them, its glow pulsing like a warning, as if alive. The whispers were a roar now, chanting, play, play, play. Their voices not human but sharp, like static with teeth. The bench barricading the door was splintered, useless, and the shadow's white eyes burned through the darkness, reaching for them. Ethan's mind raced, the notebook's words haunting him. Burn the badge to stop it, but pay the price. They'd broken every rule, played after 6, picked up the badge, called Caleb's name, and now the gym wanted them to join the referee's game. Stay quiet, Ethan hissed, his voice barely audible. But Mike was shaking, muttering, This ain't real. This ain't real. Sam's eyes were wide, fixed on the badge, its heat filling the room, the air sour like burnt rubber. The shadows didn't touch them, just hovered, their hands outstretched, jerseys flickering like old film, reels. Ethan remembered the newspaper clipping about the 1963 team, lost in a fire, and the note. The referee keeps them playing. Was that what this was? A game that never ended, trapping players forever? He grabbed the notebook, its leather cover warm, and flipped to the page about the referee. A new line had appeared, in spidery red ink. The referee calls the shots. Refuse the game, or become its team. Ethan's stomach twisted. Refuse? How when the shadows were everywhere, the badge moving like it had a mind of its own? He thought of Caleb Wright, the 1963 captain, who tried to burn the badge and failed, becoming part of the curse. Ethan wasn't Caleb. He wasn't giving up. The shadows lunged, their hands cold as ice, brushing Ethan's arm, and he yelped, shoving Mike and Sam toward the back of the locker room. The badge followed, scraping across the floor, its glow brighter. The whispers screaming, Play! Ethan kicked it, sending it spinning into a corner, but it rolled back, faster, stopping at his feet. Mike grabbed a towel, wrapping the badge to dull its heat, but it burned through, leaving black marks on his hands. What is this thing? He shouted, dropping it, his voice cracking. Ethan's eyes darted to the lockers, searching for anything. A way out. A weapon. He found a rusty lighter, tucked in a gym bag, probably left by a smoker. The notebook said to burn the badge. But Caleb had tried that, and it hadn't worked. Maybe there was more to it. He grabbed the lighter, his hands shaking, and flicked. It. The flame small but steady. We burn it, he said, his voice firm, though fear clawed at him. Sam shook his head, backing against the wall. You read the note. There's a price, man. We don't know what it'll do. Before Ethan could answer, the shadows surged, their forms clearer now. Tall, thin, wearing tattered 1963 jerseys, their faces voids, but eyes blazing. One stepped forward, number 7, maybe Caleb, its hand pointing at the badge, the whispers hissing, play or pay. The locker room door burst open, the splintered bench flying, and the shadows pushed them toward the court, the dribbling sound deafening, like 100 balls bouncing at once. Ethan resisted, grabbing a locker, but his feet slid, like the gym was pulling him. They stumbled onto the court, the shadows circling, the badge glowing at center court, the hoops looming like gallows. The fluorescent lights flickered, casting jagged shadows, and the bleachers hummed like a crowd was watching, though they were empty. Ethan clutched the lighter, the notebook in his pocket, and saw the 1963 team line up, 5 figures, ready to play, a ball appearing in Caleb's hands, glowing like the badge. "Refuse the game," Ethan whispered, the notebook's words his only hope. But how? Mike was frozen, his hands burned, staring at the shadows. Sam muttered a prayer, his voice shaking, but the whispers drowned it out. "Join us," Ethan shouted. "We're not playing!" But the shadows laughed, a sound like breaking glass, and the ball flew at him, hitting his chest, knocking him back. It was heavy, not leather but something else, warm and pulsing. He dropped it, and it bounced, high and slow, like it was waiting for him to catch it. Ethan's mind flashed to the clipping, the fire, the team that vanished. He pulled the notebook, scanning it under the flickering lights, and found another page written in red. Caleb called the referee to win forever. It took their souls. Burn the badge with the captain's oath. The captain's oath? Ethan's heart sank. Caleb was gone, part of the shadows. How could they get his oath? The shadows closed in, the ball bouncing faster, and Mike grabbed it, his eyes glazing over like he was about to play. "Mike! Don't!" Ethan yelled, tackling him, the ball rolling away, the shadows roaring. Sam grabbed the badge, its heat searing his hands, and threw it toward the bleachers. But it flew back, landing at Ethan's feet, the whispers chanting, "Captain, play!" Ethan realized it. They were treating him as the captain, the team's leader. Was his oath enough? He flicked the lighter again, the flame trembling, and held the badge, its heat unbearable. "I'm not your captain," he said, his voice shaking, "and we're not your team." He touched the flame to the badge, the metal sizzling, but the shadows screamed, the court shaking, and the flame died, snuffed out by a gust of wind that wasn't there. The shadows grabbed them, cold hands on their arms, pulling them to center court, the ball bouncing on its own, the hoops glowing red. Ethan's lighter fell, clattering, and the notebook slipped from his pocket, its pages fluttering, the red ink glowing. "The price is a player." Ethan's blood ran cold. Burn the badge. Refuse the game. But lose someone? He looked at Mike, dazed, and Sam, trembling, and knew they couldn't play, couldn't join the referee's team. But the price was too high. The shadows pushed them into a huddle, the ball in Ethan's hands, heavy and warm. The whispers, a command. Play, or lose. Ethan dropped the ball, refusing, but his feet moved, not his choice, toward the hoop. The shadows cheering, the gym alive with their hunger. Mike and Sam were beside him, their eyes dull, like they were already gone, and Ethan knew they were running out of time to break the referee's game. The basketball court at Willow Creek University's gym pulsed with a sickly red glow, the hoops burning like embers, the shadows of the 1963 team circling like wolves. Ethan Carter stood at center court, his feet moving against his will, the heavy pulsing ball in his hands, its warmth seeping into his skin. Mike and Sam were beside him, their eyes dull, bodies swaying as if pulled by strings, forced into a huddle by the ghostly figures in tattered jerseys, numbers 7, 12, 23, 30, 44. The whispers of the referee, a deep grating chant of "play" or "lose," filled the gym, shaking the bleachers, which hummed like a crowd cheering for blood. The badge, that cursed 1963 emblem, lay glowing at Ethan's feet, its heat stinging through his sneakers. The notebook's warning echoed in his mind. Burn the badge with the captain's oath, but the price is a player. Ethan's chest tightened. They were trapped in the referee's game, and refusing meant losing someone, maybe all of them. The shadows passed the glowing ball, their movements too fast, too smooth, not human. Number 7. Maybe Caleb Wright, the 1963 captain, tossed it to Ethan, and his arms caught it, not his choice, the ball heavy like stone. "No," he grunted, trying to drop it, But his hands wouldn't let go, his legs stepping forward toward the hoop. Mike dribbled beside him, his face blank, eyes white, like he was already part of the team. Sam staggered, muttering, "Stop! Stop!" But his feet moved too, lining up for a play they didn't choose. The court shook, the floor cracking, and a new figure appeared at mid-court. A tall, black shape, faceless, holding a silver whistle that gleamed like a blade. The referee! The whistle blew, a piercing shriek that stabbed Ethan's ears, and the game began. The shadows charged, their jerseys flickering, stealing the ball from Mike, who didn't react, just stood there, swaying. Ethan ran, his body fighting itself, and tackled a shadow, number 23, its form cold and slick, like touching fog. The shadow laughed, a sound like shattering glass, and passed the ball, which flew into the hoop, bursting into flames as it scored. The bleachers roared, invisible. Fans chanting, "Team, team, team!" Ethan's stomach churned. Every point felt like a piece of him fading. His memories, his mom's smile, his first game, slipping away. "We gotta stop this," Ethan gasped, grabbing Mike's arm. But Mike pulled free, dribbling toward the hoop, his movements jerky, like a puppet. Sam fell, clutching his head, whispering, "They're in me." Ethan remembered the notebook. Refused the game, burned the badge with the captain's oath. He was the captain now, the team's leader. His oath might work, but the price, a player, made his blood run cold. He couldn't lose Mike or Sam, not after dragging them into this. The referee blew the whistle again, and the shadows scored, the hoop blazing, Ethan's vision blurring, like he was sinking into the court. He lunged for the badge, its heat searing. His hands, and ran to the sidelines, dodging shadows that reached for him, their fingers like ice. The lighter was gone, lost when the shadows attacked, but he needed fire, anything. He saw the locker room door, still open, and bolted inside. The shadows chasing, their whispers, a scream. "Play!" He slammed the door, barricading it with lockers, his hands shaking. The badge burned his palm, its glow brighter. The court's red light seeping through the door's window, the game continuing without him. Ethan searched the lockers, finding a can of spray paint, probably left by maintenance. It wasn't much, but it could spark. He grabbed a towel, wrapping the badge, and sprayed the paint, flicking a match from his pocket, one he'd missed before. The flame caught, small but fierce, and he held it to the badge, its metal sizzling, the towel burning black. "I'm the captain," he said, his voice raw, "and I swear we're not your team. Let us go." The badge glowed red hot, the flames turning green, unnatural, and the shadows outside screamed, the court shaking, the whistle blowing wildly. The door burst open, the lockers flying, and the referee stood there, its whistle silent, its form pulsing like smoke. The shadows of the 1963 team were behind it, their eyes dimming, their jerseys fading. Ethan held the burning badge, his hand blistering, and shouted, "We're done!" The flames surged, the badge melting, dripping like wax, and the shadows wailed, their forms unraveling, sinking into the court. Mike and Sam stumbled in, their eyes clearing, but weak, like they'd been drained. The referee raised its whistle, but no sound came, its form flickering, like it was losing power. Ethan dropped the badge, its ashes scattering, the flames dying, but the pain in his chest was worse, sharp and deep, like something was tearing free. The price. The notebook had warned him, a player. He looked at Mike, swaying, and Sam, clutching his arm, and feared it was one of them. The gym went quiet, the red glow fading, the bleachers silent. But the air was still heavy, the shadows gone, but not defeated. The referee vanished, its whistle falling to the floor, glinting in the dark, untouched. Ethan helped Mike and Sam to the center court, their breaths ragged, their faces pale. The notebook was gone, lost in the chaos, but its words were seared in his mind. The price is a player. He felt it, the weight of what he'd done, burning the badge, swearing the oath. The main doors were still locked, the key missing, but the locker room door was open, a faint moonlight spilling through a cracked window, their only way out. They stumbled toward it, Ethan's hand bleeding, his strength fading, like the gym was still taking from him. They climbed through the window, glass cutting their arms, and fell onto the grass outside. The Indiana night cold and still. The gym loomed behind them, its windows dark, but Ethan felt eyes watching. The whistle's glint still in his mind. They'd refused the referee's game, burned the badge, but the curse wasn't broken. It was waiting, hungry for the price. Mike and Sam leaned on him, barely standing, and Ethan knew they weren't free. Not yet. Not until the gym let them go. The Indiana night was cold and still, the grass damp under Ethan Carter's hands as he lay outside Willow Creek University's gym, his breath fogging in the moonlight. Mike and Sam slumped beside him, their faces pale, eyes hollow, barely able to stand after climbing through the broken locker room window. The gym loomed behind them, its dark windows like eyes. The silver whistle of the referee glinting in Ethan's mind, left untouched on the court. They'd burned the cursed 1963 badge, refused the referee's game, and escaped the shadowy team that had tried to trap them. But Ethan's chest ached, a sharp, hollow pain that hadn't faded. The notebook's warning was clear. Burn the badge, with the captain's oath, but the price as a player. He'd sworn the oath as captain, but the price, who or what had they lost, hung over them like a shadow. Ethan helped Mike and Sam to their feet, his hands raw from burns, cuts from the window stinging his arms. "We're okay," he said, more to himself than them, but his voice shook. Mike nodded, dazed, rubbing his burned hands, while Sam stared at the gym, whispering, "It's not over." The campus was quiet, the Indiana sky heavy with clouds, the gym's silhouette a silent threat. Ethan wanted to run, to forget the whispers, the glowing hoops, the 1963 team, but he felt it. The curse wasn't gone. The referee was weakened, maybe, but its whistle, its game, was waiting. They staggered to the dorms, a short walk across campus, their sneakers crunching on gravel, the silence too loud. Ethan's phone was dead, his bag left in the gym, but he didn't dare go back. Mike kept muttering, "We didn't play, right? We didn't join them?" Sam stayed quiet, his eyes on the ground, like he saw something they didn't. At the dorm, they collapsed in Ethan's room, locking the door, the fluorescent light buzzing overhead. Ethan cleaned their cuts with a first aid kit, his hands trembling, and tried to piece it together. The badge was ash, the shadows gone, but the pain in his chest, the weight of the price, wouldn't leave. Sleep didn't come. Every creak in, the dorm sounded like dribbling, every shadow like the referee's form. Ethan kept the lights on, the notebook's words looping in his head. The price is a player. He checked on Mike and Sam, sprawled on the floor, breathing unevenly, their faces drawn. Had he lost them, even if they were here? He remembered Caleb Wright, the 1963 captain trapped forever, and wondered if he'd doomed his friends by burning the badge. The rules, don't play after 6, don't pick up the badge, don't call their names, had been their warning, and they'd ignored everyone. Morning brought a gray dawn and a knock on the door. Ethan jumped, heart racing, but it was Coach Johnson, his face grim, eyes bloodshot. "What did you do?" he asked, stepping inside, shutting the door. Ethan told him everything, the sneak-in, the badge, the referee, the fire. Coach's jaw tightened, and he pulled a crumpled photo from his pocket, showing the 1963 team, their faces clear, jerseys bright. "I was a freshman then," he said, his voice low. "They stayed late like you. Caleb wanted to win so bad. He made a deal with something. Called it the referee. It took them, and it's been waiting for a new team ever since." Ethan's throat was dry. "We stopped it," he said, but it sounded like a question. Coach shook his head. "You heard it maybe, but it's still there. That whistle. You left it?" Ethan nodded, guilt flooding him. Coach sighed, handing him a small key, tarnished and heavy. "Found this in the gym after 63. It's old, maybe Caleb's. Keep it. Might help." Ethan took it, its weight cold, and asked, "Help how?" Coach didn't answer, just said, "Stay away from the gym. Don't go back, Ethan." But Ethan couldn't stay away. That afternoon, he returned to the gym, alone, the key in his pocket, his burns throbbing. The campus was quiet, students unaware of the night's horror. The gym's side entrance was boarded up, but the front doors were unlocked. The air inside, sour like ash and sweat. The court was clean. No badge, no notebook, but the whistle lay at center court, glinting, untouched. Ethan's skin prickled. He didn't touch it, but the rules were back, scrawled on a new note taped to the bleachers. Don't touch the whistle. Don't play the game. He checked the locker room, finding his bag, the newspaper clipping about the 1963 fire still inside, now marked with red ink. The referee waits. Ethan's heart sank. They'd burned the badge, but the whistle was the key. The referee's heart. He pocketed the clipping, the key warm in his hand, and felt a hum, like the bleachers were waking up. A ball rolled from the rack, slow, stopping, at his feet, and a whisper came, not in the gym but his head. "Captain, play." Ethan backed away, the whistle glowing brighter, and ran, slamming the doors behind him, the hum fading but not gone. Back at the dorm, Mike and Sam were worse. Mike's hands were black with burns that wouldn't heal, and he kept humming a tune, like a crowd's chant. Sam wouldn't talk, just stared at the wall, muttering, "It's still calling." Ethan showed them the clipping, the new rules, and the key, but they barely reacted, like the gym had taken part of them. He felt it too, the hollow ache, the price they hadn't paid yet. Coach's words echoed. It's been waiting for a new team. The key was their only clue. But to what? A lock? A secret? Or the referee itself? That night, Ethan dreamed of the court, the hoops burning, the referee blowing its whistle, Mike and Sam in 1963 jerseys, their eyes white. He woke, sweating, the key glowing faintly on his desk, and heard it. A soft dribbling, not in the dorm, but his head, calling him back, to the gym. The curse wasn't broken, and the referee was hungry, its whistle waiting, its game unfinished. The soft dribbling echoed in Ethan Carter's head, a relentless rhythm that followed him from the dream of burning hoops and the referee's piercing whistle. He sat bolt upright in his dorm room at Willow Creek University, the tarnished key. Coach Johnson had given him glowing faintly on his desk, its warmth pulsing like a heartbeat. The Indiana dawn was gray outside, the campus silent, but the gym's curse clung to him, to Mike, to Sam, like a shadow that wouldn't fade. They'd burned the 1963 badge, defied the referee's game, and escaped the gym. But the price, a player, loomed, and the whistle, left glinting on the court, was still calling. Ethan's burns throbbed, his chest ached, and the new rules he'd found, don't touch the whistle, don't play the game, were a warning he couldn't ignore. Mike and Sam were worse, sprawled on the dorm floor, their faces gaunt, eyes distant. Mike's burned hands were black, flaking like ash, and he hummed that eerie crowd chant, his voice not his own. Sam stared at the ceiling, muttering, "It's waiting." His words slurred, like the gym was still inside him. Ethan's guilt was a knife in his gut. He'd led them into the gym, broken the rules, and now they were paying for it. The key, heavy in his hand, was their only clue. But to what? A lock in the gym, a way to stop the referee, or a trap? Coach's words rang in his ears. It's been waiting for a new team. Ethan couldn't let it take them. He shook Mike and Sam, their eyes flickering, but they barely responded. "We're going back," he said, his voice firm despite the fear. "We end this." Mike nodded, dazed, and Sam clutched the key, its glow reflecting in his glassy eyes. They grabbed jackets, the newspaper clipping about the 1963 fire, and a flashlight, heading to the gym under the morning fog. The campus was empty, the gym's red brick facade looming, its windows dark but watching. Ethan's hand shook as he pushed the front doors, expecting them to be locked, but they creaked open. The air inside cold and sour, like a grave. The court was unchanged, the whistle still at center court, its silver glinting under the flickering fluorescent lights. The new rules were gone, but a ball rolled from the rack, stopping at Ethan's feet, a whisper in his head. "Captain, play." He kicked it away, the sound echoing, and led Mike and Sam to the locker room, where the newspaper clipping had been marked. The referee waits. The key warmed in his pocket, guiding him to a locked cabinet he hadn't noticed before, hidden behind a pile of old jerseys. He slid the key in, the lock clicking, and opened it, revealing a small wooden box, carved with a basketball and the year 1963. Inside was a single page, torn from a journal, in Caleb Wright's handwriting, dated the night of the fire. The referee promised victory, but it took our souls. The whistle is its heart. Destroy it with the captain's blood, but one stays behind. Ethan's heart sank. The captain's blood. His blood, as the team's leader. One stays behind. The price, clearer now, meant someone wouldn't leave. Mike read over his shoulder, his hum stopping, his voice hoarse. "You're not doing this, man." Sam grabbed the page, crumpling it, his eyes wild. "We leave it, we walk away." But Ethan knew they couldn't. The curse was in them, in the gym, and it wouldn't stop. The whistle glowed brighter, the court humming, the bleachers vibrating like a crowd was waking up. Ethan grabbed the whistle, its metal freezing, burning, both at once, and the gym shook, the floor cracking, shadows rising from the lines on the court. The 1963 team appeared, their jerseys glowing, eyes white, but different, pleading, not attacking, their whispers soft. "Free us." Ethan's hand bled, cut from the window, dripping onto the whistle, and the shadows wavered. The referee's form flickering at mid-court, its whistle silent, its presence heavy. "We end it," Ethan said, his voice breaking, and ran to the locker room, Mike and Sam stumbling behind. He found the spray paint can from before, shaking it, the rattle loud in the silence. He sprayed the whistle, its metal sizzling, and lit a match, the flame catching, green and wild, like with the badge. "I'm the captain," he said, his blood mixing with the paint, "and I break your game." The flames roared, the whistle melting, the shadows screaming, their forms unraveling, sinking into the floor. The referee lunged, its hands cold, but Ethan held the burning whistle, his blood sizzling, the price tearing at his chest. Mike and Sam pulled him back, their strength returning, their eyes clear, but Ethan felt it. Something leaving him, his energy, his will, like the gym was taking its due. The referee wailed, its form collapsing, the court still, the bleachers quiet. The whistle was ash, the key cold in Ethan's pocket, but the pain was worse, his vision dimming, like he was fading. "We're out," he gasped, helping Mike and Sam to the main doors, now unlocked, moonlight spilling in. They staggered outside, the gym silent, but Ethan's blood was on the court, his promise to the referee unpaid. They collapsed on the grass, the campus fog thick, the gym dark behind them. Mike and Sam breathed easier, their burns fading, their voices stronger. But Ethan was weak, his hands trembling, the price weighing on him. He'd destroyed the whistle, freed the 1963 team, but the curse wasn't gone. It was in him, in the gym, waiting for a new captain. The key was still in his pocket, cold now, and a whisper came, faint but clear. "One stays behind." The fog curled around Willow Creek University's gym, thick and cold, swallowing the moonlight as Ethan Carter, Mike, and Sam lay on the grass, their breaths ragged, the weight of the night pressing down. Ethan's hands shook, his burns raw, his chest hollow from the curse's price. One stays behind. They destroyed the referee's whistle, freed the 1963 team's shadows, and escaped the gym. But the whisper lingered in Ethan's head, faint but sharp. One stays behind. The key, now cold in his pocket, felt like a chain, tying him to the gym, to the curse that wasn't gone, only quiet. Mike and Sam were stronger, their burns fading, their eyes clearer. But Ethan was fading, his strength draining, like the gym was still taking its due. They staggered to their feet, the campus silent, the gym's dark windows watching like eyes. "We're done, right?" Mike asked, his voice rough, rubbing his hands, the black marks nearly gone. Sam nodded, but his eyes flicked to the gym, fear etched in his face. "Let's go," he said, pulling Ethan's arm, but Ethan couldn't move, rooted, the whisper, growing. "Captain, you swore." He'd burned the badge, the whistle, used his blood. But the price, a player, was unpaid, and he knew it was him. The gym wanted its captain. "We can't stay here," Ethan said, forcing his legs to move, leading them to the dorms, the fog clinging to their clothes. The key burned in his pocket, not hot but heavy, like it was alive. In his room, they locked. The door, the fluorescent light buzzing. But the shadows were wrong. Too long, curling like fingers. Mike collapsed on the bed, Sam on the floor, but Ethan stayed up, the newspaper clipping about the 1963 fire on his desk, its red ink glowing. The referee waits. He remembered Caleb Wright's journal. Destroy the whistle with the captain's blood, but one stays behind. He'd done it, but the curse wasn't broken. It was waiting, and he was the price. A knock came at the door, soft but insistent, and Ethan froze, the whisper in his head louder. Captain. Mike sat up, eyes wide, and Sam grabbed a lamp, holding it like a club. Ethan opened the door, expecting Coach Johnson, but no one was there. Just a basketball, old and cracked, sitting in the hall, rolling slightly, like it had been nudged. He slammed the door, his heart pounding, and the dribbling started, not outside but in the room, echoing in his skull. It's not over, he said, his voice breaking, and Mike and Sam looked at him, their faces pale, knowing he was right. Ethan grabbed the key, its metal glinting, and said, I have to go back. Mike protested. No way, man, we're done. But Sam was quiet, his eyes on the key, like he understood. It's me, Ethan said, his throat tight. I swore the oath. I'm the captain. It wants me. He didn't wait for them to argue. Slipping out, the basketball rolling after him, its bounces soft but relentless. The gym called, the fog parting as he walked, the key warm again, guiding him to the doors, now open, the court waiting. Inside, the gym was dark, the air thick, the whistle's ashes scattered at center court, but a new sound came, a low hum, like a crowd, from the bleachers. Ethan's flashlight flickered, its beam catching the hoops, glowing red, the floor marked with black footprints, not his. The 1963 team was gone, but the referee's shadow loomed at midcourt, faceless, its whistle gone, but its presence heavy. You swore, it whispered, not in his head, but the air, and Ethan felt the price, his strength fading, his blood cold. He held the key, its edges sharp, and saw a lock on the referee's stand, small and rusted, unnoticed before. He ran to it, the shadow following, the hum rising, the court shaking. The key fit, clicking, and the stand opened, revealing a single page, Caleb's handwriting. The captain's blood seals the game, but the gym keeps one forever. Ethan's hand bled, cut from the window, and he pressed it to the page, his blood soaking in, the shadow screaming, the hoops flaring, the gym alive with rage. I'm not yours, he said, his voice weak, and you're done. The page burned green flames like before, and the referee's shadow collapsed, the hum stopping, the court still. Ethan fell, his vision dimming, the key cold, the gym quiet, but not safe. He crawled to the doors, the fog outside thick, and collapsed, the whisper gone, the price paid. He'd sealed the curse, but at what cost? His strength was gone, his heart slow, like the gym had taken his soul. Morning came, and campus security found the gym doors open, the court clean, no ashes, no key. Ethan, Mike, and Sam were in the dorm, alive but changed. Ethan was weak, his eyes distant, muttering, "Don't play," like a warning. Mike and Sam told the story to Coach, who burned the clipping, his face grim. The school called it exhaustion, sent them home, and their families moved away, no trace left in Indiana. The gym stayed locked after 6, but a new player, a freshman, found a ball on the court one night, rolling on its own, and a whisper, "Captain, play." The referee was quiet, but the game wasn't over, and that's the end of I'm a College. Basketball player in a haunted gym. Did Ethan really stop the referee, or is it still out there, waiting for a new captain to break the rules? What would you do if you found that ball rolling in your gym? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more spooky tales every week. Got a creepy story from your school or team? Tell us, and it might inspire our next video. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and maybe skip that late night practice. See you next time.